Hello and welcome to C++ lecture 2. My name is Junior, and our topics of the day, as I've made a notepad here for you guys to see the topics of the day, just to know what are the topics of this lecture so that you can see and save your time. Alright, our topics today. Topic 1, we'll first have to look and try to run our first program for output. Yes, our first program to display a message on screen. I know many of you guys have been wondering, why aren't we actually coding and seeing what programming is all about? But then guess what, today we are right on it. Lecture 2 we'll be doing that today. And then topic 1, a simple first program for output or displaying a message on a screen, right? And one thing to note when you talk about an output or displaying a message, this is a little syntax that you have to follow in terms of coding in a way that you'll display something to the screen. Then here is how I put it. For output or for display, we use a console output being written. When you're coding or when you're programming, you write it as C out, letter C out, all in lowercase. Then this is how it will be. Then now let's quickly go into our compiler here and see actually and experience our first program that has to output or display a certain message of our choice to the screen, and see how we proceed. All right, without wasting any time, my compiler here, I'm using Qt Creator because I'm having problem with code blocks on my Windows 8. I'm having problem, we can't build the program, so I'm using this Qt Creator. You can find it online, this Qt Creator. You can go to Google and then you Google Qt Creator. This is version 5.3 years. Then you download it and then you can install it on your system. It works on 32-bit, then on 64-bit. Like my system is 64-bit, so it's working here. Then now, what you first do, you go to welcome. After installing, you go to welcome, and then now we go to project, because now we are using Qt Creator, not code blocks. I know many are learning C++ using code blocks, but then there's no much of a difference. You'll see now. All right. Then I click here. Then I create a new project. And then I specify. You see, it's having so many functions, this Qt Creator. I create applications, then console application, and quick application, widget application, libraries, C++ libraries, other projects, you name them. But then now, since now we are in C++, we come to non-Qt project, where we'll just have to use the C++ syntax. All right. So I select non-Qt project, and then on the second block now I have to choose plain C++ project. That's what I choose, and then I click choose. And then now I have to name project. And something that you guys should note here is that when you're using Qt Creator, unlike the code block, when you're in code block like now, we said this topic 1 is for displaying a message on screen, so it's for output. So I'll just name it C++ output. I'll just say C. Let me see. Oh, it doesn't allow the characters, so I'll just say output, console output. Let me just name it console. Sorry, console underscore output, console output. So a little different that we have when you're using this compiler, unlike the code block. Code block, remember, every time when you name your file, each file name at the end you have to specify the file type. You say .cpp, simply meaning .c++. But then now here in our Qt Creator, this is so accommodating, you don't even have to specify, as long as you chose a project as a C++, a plain C++ project like here. Then now I've already have my default location for this project. Then now I just click next. then now next. Then as you can see now here, it's been created console output. Then I have a file.pro and I have a main.cpp, right? Then I click finish. Now let me wait for my compiler. Yes, there we go. This is so brilliant. It even actually gave me something here that I'm going to help you guys just now bring an idea. So this is how all C++ code looks like, especially the first line here, line 1. Mind you, these are line numbers. I will always refer them in terms of the line. So it's very my advice to you is that you have to note the line numbers. Most of the time when you make argument, I'll be saying on line 3 or on line 1 on line blah. That's how we'll be talking. So now let's try to quickly analyze the syntax on line 1. Line 1, when we define in our C++ code, this is how it has been given. We say include, and then we specify here, we say include IOStream. This IOStream, what we're including actually to our program, we're including the input. This I is for input, and then this O is for output streams. It then means in our code will accommodate what we're including, what the input user might input something and the program will output something, right? So that's why we have to include IOStreams. We include IOStream. So that's it. And then you don't even have to now try to memorize this. As much as you'll be coding, you'll always use it, so you'll always remember it no matter what. So there are many things that you can include, but for now let's just use this one, include IOStream, for the basic program to run, and then followed by using namespace standard. Some of the things you'll learn as we proceed, right? Just follow the syntax. Just 2 lines here. Let me try to bring them nearly close to each other. Yes, there we go. All right, and then now that's how we are going to create a skeleton for our program. We'll always have int main, because that's where actually inside the main, this is, as you can see, this is an integer, and then we say main. This is a main function, and then now that's where actually we'll be doing all the coding inside this function int main, right? And then as you can see, we have a parenthesis for the function, opening parenthesis, and then we have a closing parenthesis, right? And then now actually our compiler is so good, it has created something here, right? And then remember I said to you guys here on my notepad, I said for output or for displaying we use console output, the syntax which is cout. It then means now looking into our program here, this thing that we see here, cout, it then tells us that this is going to be displaying. This is for display, right? This is for display. So it then means that this line is going to display, I'm referring to line 6. Line 6, we are going to display something to the screen. I'm going to show you what I mean when I say on the screen, right? So here, these are called insertion operators. Insertion operators, when they are like this, they are always, wherever you'll see the console output, this one, or wherever you'll see the console output, it will be preceded by these insertion operators. It then shows that actually we are inserting something to our screen, right? Okay, then now there is a certain message that is followed afterwards. It says cout, and then we have the insertion operators, and then now we have the double quotation here and here, and look between them. What's happening between them? We see a message saying hello world, right? So the idea here is that we are displaying something to the screen, where we are inserting something to the screen, something which is a message hello world. So this message hello world will be displayed as it is on our black screen, because it's between the double quotation on each side. Whatever is between these will be displayed as it is. And then look what follows next. What follows next is still the insertion operators, and then we're having these things say end L. This is not end 1, it's end L. L for line. You end line, and then we terminate the statement. This marks the end of our statement here. All right. And then now here, this end line, it then means whatever that you're going to do on line 6, will be displayed, or will be displayed on its separate line, and then everything that follows has to start on a new line. This is the property of this end line. Right guys, I can remove it, the code will still run. And then now, because we are inside the main function, look here, we are having return 0. This will always be like this. This will always be like this, guys. I want you guys to remember that. But then for now, don't go in depth and try to worry about it. So what I will do now, I'll go and try to build our program and see if we get any error, and then just run. Even though we have done, actually we haven't done anything, this was generated by the compiler. So let's just build and then try to see what actually I was meaning when I say displaying on the screen, right? Then here I go to build, I click on the hammer, and then it's going to build for me, and then it's going to tell me here if there is any error. Oh, green light, that means there is no error. I can now go ahead and click build and then try to see. All right, voila, you see the message has been displayed, hello world. You see, this is the message, hello world, and this is just the compiler generated message to mark the end. You see, the message has been displayed. It says hello world. It, check here guys, is displayed the same as it was written in here. All right, so that was the idea of actually having a first program just to display something to the screen. You can, okay, now let me close this window. So now we have displayed the hello world. Remember, you can display anything as long as it's between the double quotation. Like now here I can say, oh god, my name is Junior. My name is Junior. All right, so now I'm going to do that, and then I save, and then I'll again go and build. All right, then after building, and then now I can run and then see what is displayed on the screen. You see, my name is Junior. So remember guys, the important thing for you guys to follow is always remember you are displaying something to the screen, so you have to use console output, and then with the insertion operators, these two things showing that actually we are throwing something to our screen as an output, and then that's something now it has to be between, if it's a message like here, just displaying a string message here, and then it then has to be between these quotation. Whatever the message you might write, you might write a long message, it will be displayed on your screen, and then followed by this just to mark the end line. So now let me emphasize the idea of this end line. Here I can now remove this end line. Oh, I removed the terminator also. Let me just, oh god, sorry about that. Oh, actually it's the first option character. All right, you see, now I've terminated my statement without an end line. This simply means that if there were any statement that is ran after line 6, will actually run on the same line as line 6, because there is no end line. I never specify that whatever follows must start on the next line, like with the end line. So let me just quickly run it, just quickly build it, and run it, and let's see. You see, because the program was creating this message here, press return to close the window. You see where it's displayed now, unlike before it was displayed below my name is Junior. Now it's displayed here because I never specify here with the end line that start a new line. All right guys, then I think that was good enough for our few minutes on the first topic. Now we can display anything, remember guys. So now let's try to quickly go to our second topic now, yes, which is the important part. Second topic we'll be looking into it. Let's see, simple program for both input, meaning where the user have to enter a certain value. Now the user have to enter a certain value, and output and displaying, right? It then means the user is we are going to create a program that will allow the user of your program to enter or to input a certain value, and then later on you will display it. I mean, it's very good if you are fitting a computer with an initial input, and then maybe you do the calculation and then the computer gives you the result as output. So we can't just, I mean, it would be boring to have a code that you just input and then you don't even get output. You will need result. We punch in a calculator, we punch in the numbers, and then we want the calculator to work out the magic and give us the result. So that's the idea now. So now topic 2 actually is the main one, because in programming that's what will be actually, that's what we are all doing in programming. We'll have an input and then we'll have an output. All right, so now a thing for you guys to take into consideration as we're going into input and output is for you to consider that for you to input or value for input or value entering, we use console input. The syntax is cin or cin. This is console input, right? And remember, this one is console, this one here is console output. For output, this is console input. All right, so it then means you're going to use both of them, because you're having input, which is going to be here, and then using cin, and then we are having output, which is cout. All right, cout. All right, sorry about that. And then now we shall write short program using all the data types we have talked about in lecture 1, in our first lecture. Remember the data type, guys. So now we are going to create symbol programs for each data type separately. I don't want to mix them at once, but then I'll create a symbol program for each data type so that you guys have an idea and then of how it's like to input and have computer to do the magic, maybe a calculation, ask the computer to do addition, subtraction of integers and any other things, on concatenation of the strings and characters, and then yeah, then now we're going to do that. Now let's just quickly go into our compiler, and then we go to welcome, and then we create a new project quickly. And then now it's still C++ project, play C++ project. And then now the first one, let's use the integers, right? Let's use integers. Let's use integers, guys. Let me see. Integers. I think this is integers. Yes. All right, this is our program. Remember, this compiler by default, as long as you specify that you're doing a C++ plain project, it will always suggest this for you. So for now, I will just remove this line because I'm not just going to, I don't want to display that. And I'll remove this line now. And then now, where are we going to focus into? Remember now, what you guys should remember now. Here I'm going to, okay, let me just have a command here above. Let me just above everything here. Okay, integers, integer validation. All right, here we'll be focusing on integers. All right, so remember these will always be there, same applies to these. So now what we need, now we go in our main function. Main function actually is the one that actually tells where we define whatever that we are doing in the main function so far. That's where we're going to do. That's our playing ground. So the idea now, I said integers. Remember how we declare the variable. So we'll quickly just go and declare an integer. Let's say int, I might just say, let me say now we want to use let's just say we are going to declare 2 integers. All right, we're going to create 2 integers, and then now ask the user to enter values for those integers, and then we are going to ask the computer to do the summation or the subtraction or the multiplication or the division of those integers, right? So let's just say int, the first one is, I can say num1. Let me just say num1 like this, and then comma. Okay, let me just terminate here, and then I'll say int num2. Oh, sorry about that. In num2, and then now I'll declare an int sum, or declare int sum, right? If now you can get the logic a little bit, you see obviously sum is going to be made up of num1 and num2. All right, this is a declaration. Remember, before anything we declare, we create the variable, we create temporary storages, right? So now let's go. First we need to communicate to the user by displaying a message. Now this is displaying a message. The message can be enter a value for, let's just say first number. Enter a value for first number. All right, okay, just space like this. Then now we terminate the statement, and then is followed by, because we said to the user enter the first number, so we again have to allow an input for the user, to the line of input for the user to enter. So it then means now we go to cin. Remember the cin, and now the cin is followed by the extraction operators. These two things, they're called extraction operators. We're extracting something from the user as an input. So let's say now here we said enter a value for first number. Let's just say num1 is our first number, so here we're going to associate the value that is entered to the storage num1. So we write the variable here num1, then now we terminate, and then we continue. Now see out, we need the user to enter for all these variables that we have that are going to give us sum. So you can say again here enter a value for second number. Then we assume in our memory that second number. Now we say cin, then we say for what, for num2. Now it's for num2. all right, so far where we are now, we have created declaration of two integers, and then we have created another integer, the third one, which we call it sum, right? And then now we display the message to a user. Here we're displaying a message to a user, and then we say enter a value for first number, and then we associate the first number with num1, variable num1. So it then means the value that is entered here, it will be stored inside num1. It will be referred to as, it will be stored inside a storage num1. And then here enter a value for second number. It then means the value that is entered on the value that is entered here for second number, it will be stored inside the storage num2. And then now what do we do? Just imagine, like, use a general thinking. Now someone has entered the values. Now you have asked someone to give you the values, they have entered the values now, and then what do you need your computer to do? Obviously we need to perform a calculation. Let me just make a comment here and then say addition, right? Let's just do the addition. Yeah, let's just do the addition here below. Remember, this is a comment, right? These are comment /2/ for comment. So whatever that is in comment does not make any change to the code, does not affect the code at all. It just direct whoever is going to read the code, and that's good programming, right? Okay, now let's create sum. Now this is more like a mathematics. We're going to say this sum, variable sum, here we're going to say sum, because we know from mathematics sum, we say a certain where sum will always have two things that you're going to bring them together to give you sum. Two things brought together by the addition operator, and then will give you sum. So we can say sum is assigned to, remember, sum is assigned to, what are the two things that we have here actually? Quickly, I know you got that, num1, then we just go straight and say num1 plus num2, and then we terminate the statement. So you see now here we already have, because the user has entered the values for num1 and num2, and then now here we're adding them together and then storing them inside variable sum. So after doing that, we then need to give the user the feedback by displaying the sum. can say the sum of numbers you have provided is, and then now here is the is, create a space a bit, and then now we still have to insert what? We insert actually this variable here, sum, this variable sum here, because remember when we write this sum here, actually what you're going to what will be displayed here is not the name sum. We're going to display the data inside sum, so don't get confused there, guys. So yes, that's our program. And now I can quickly just go to build, because I've already saved, and then let's see. Okay, a green light, it's built successfully. Then let's just go and run the program and see if we have any error. All right, okay, this is our program now. It's talking to us. Enter a value for the first number. Let's just go, for instance, let me just start with smaller numbers. All right, these are integers, right? My first digit is 4. The second one I can say let me say 7, and then you see here is the message: the sum of numbers you have provided is 11. You guys can see that is 11. Don't get confused by this message that follows here. Remember, I said to you, if I use end line, whatever that follows will be on a new line, right? So I suppose we know mathematically 4 plus 7 gives us 11. So this is a true sum. So here we're emphasizing the idea of using integers, right? So we can even do the subtraction. So that means here I can declare a variable, say different, diff, for difference, right? I don't want to write in full, but just write it as diff, and then I can change here. I can change here on the calculation, then store inside diff whatever I'm calculating. But then remember, now I'll have to do what? I'll have to say the numbers, right? I'll have to do the difference. All right, difference is going to be num1 subtract num2, and then now here I have to display what? The difference. It's the difference. Okay, let me just save and let me just run it and see how it goes. All right, okay, so now let me just enter 7, then I'll enter 4. Then you see now, oh, I did not change the message. It's still saying the sum, but then yes, this is the difference. The difference is 3. So let me change the message for you guys, just to be a little bit perfect. So let me just say the difference. Okay, the difference of numbers you have provided. All right, I suppose this is what has to be displayed. Let's see the difference. Please enter a value. I'll still go for 7 and I'll still go for 4. The difference of numbers you have provided is 3. All right, that's correct. So you guys still want to recap? All right, I'll advise now. Let me proceed to the others, and then you'll actually get to see what the magic. Actually, it's not a magic, it's just the logic here. Just have to follow the logic. You can do right, like here on the calculation, you can do multiplication, and then you can do division on the calculation. But then now, as much as you'll be changing the calculation, I advise you guys to create another program where you actually, the operator is not just addition and subtraction. You can use the division, you can use your multiplication. But then remember, every time just try to be specific. If you're going to do the multiplication, just make this variable as, like, when you do the multiplication, you can make this as a product to accommodate the product of the two numbers that you have from the user. And then same applies to the division now. All right, so you'll always try to be specific, and then that's what you have to display here. And then even the message here has to be appropriate. All right, so now let's go to our next variable, which is let's quickly, next variable is float. Let's go to float. floating number, floating point. Okay, floating point numbers, floating point numbers. All right. My compiler is super fast. Remember, I still have to remove this because I don't need to use this. It's been created by default here on the compiler. Remember, this is what you always have to, if you're using CodeBlock, a certain version of CodeBlock does not have these things. You have to create them. Actually include, remember, the IO stream, input and output streams, then using namespace standard, then in main. Now inside the main, that's what you're going to always use. And then in the main, to mark the end of the program, you have to always return 0 because this is an integer function. You'll always have to return 0, right? But don't worry about the functions, you'll know them later on. Now let's just play here. Remember, the first thing to remember, always start with declaration, variable declaration. So we said now we're focused on the data type float. So remember, the syntax is just float. So I can say float and float. Remember, float is numbers with precision. So let me just say float. I can have float, maybe let's say, okay, let me just say float hours. Float hours, and I can say float I can say wage. Let me just say salary, float salary. All right, then I can say float the rate. All right, I'm sure you have an idea here because I'm trying to make a simple practical example with the basic things that actually, without even have to think programming wise, you'll, in general knowledge, now you'll get an idea what my program is trying to achieve here. So as you can see here, I'm going to do salary calculation. So let me just say a command here, salary calculation, right, on this program. So you first have to declare, and then after declaring the variables, now remember, we always have to address the user, what this program is doing. Let's say how many hours worked, how many hours worked, how many hours, let's just try to be specific here, how many hours worked, because we want to give you a salary. Say how many hours worked, and then with a question mark. All right, and here let's terminate. Then now we ask, here's the question. We said how many hours worked, how many hours worked, sorry, how many hours worked, and then with a question mark. And then now what follows, it then means, since we asked a question, we have to always, if you ask a question, you have to always accommodate, be sure that you are accommodating the user input by having a cin console input. All right, let me, all right, I was thirsty as it's nearly midnight now. All right, so about that, guys. And then now we are accommodating the response from the user, and then the response from the user, we are associating it with hours, the variable hours here. So it then means our variable hours is the one that is going to hold the input from the user that correspond to how many, the question how many hours worked. So we're going to store inside hours, just to be good in terms of logic, guys. So now another thing followed. Now we can say hourly rate. You can ask, enter your hourly rate, enter your hourly rate, enter your hourly rate. All right, then since we write this, and then now we have to ensure that the user is going to enter and cin, so that can be associated to a variable rate. Okay, so after that, remember, we want this information so that at the end we need to calculate and determine the salary, right? So it then means now let's have the calculation. Same applies to when we were doing the integer, when we do the summation and the others. So now here, let's have the calculation for salary. So we can say salary is assigned to. Now we're going to say what's the calculation? How do you determine the salary? We have hours, you have the rate. The calculation is what? It's a product. Actually, we say hours multiply by rate, then we terminate. That's our calculation. So whatever that we have from this product of hours to rate will be stored inside our variable salary. It then means we can display that, because it has been stored inside salary. We can display the salary. See out. Remember guys, we're displaying sum on the other side. Now here we're displaying what? Salary. All right, we can say your salary is, let me just create R here and try to be fancy a bit, because in South Africa we use rand currency. So now here I have to throw in the variable salary. Remember, I'm just putting the storage reference, which is just salary here, but then what will be displayed is the actual data inside salary. All right, there we go. So this is our program. We little recap before we run the program. We declare, because I realized we're dealing with float numbers with prepositions, and then we have hours. We declare, we created hours as a float, and then salary and rate. Then we ask the user to enter the hours, the amount of hours they work, and then the rate per hour. So and then after that we do the calculation, and then we said, well, the calculation has to give us, because you're calculating the salary, then that's why we assign the calculation to salary. And then we're displaying it to the user, because the user want to know how much they'll get is the salary. So now control save and run. Let me run it. Hopefully hoping for the green light here on build. All right, green light. And then now how many hours worked? Okay, I'll say I worked 38.8 hours. Do we have such a thing? 38.8. All right, minutes. All right, and then enter your hourly rate. My hourly rate, wow, my hourly rate is huge. For me, I might say that hourly rate, let me say, for an example, let's just say per hour, okay, is 299.99. right? Okay, so now this is your salary. Your salary is, actually, if you can take a calculator and calculate it separately, you see that the product of 299.99 and 38.8 is, oh my god, 11,689 rand 60 cents. Yes, in South Africa. All right, so that's the idea here. Remember the idea, we're just trying to emphasize the numbers with precisions, that float point accommodate numbers with precisions. Like now here I was working with salaries, and then the rate, then we're successfully so to see the calculation giving us the desired output. So being the salary, we determine the salary. So now let's quickly now go to our next variable, which is get a new project, and then plain C++, and then now we say characters. All right, and then characters. All right, as always, I'll always remove these because it's created by default. All right, here now in this program, remember I said to you, I'm emphasizing characters. We're dealing with characters. Remember the syntax for declaring character, you just write car, then I can say car gender. Maybe where I'm going to specify the gender in terms of M and F for female and M for male, or we can have categories, and then that's how the gender works for me. And then the character, I'll use character 4. in most cases, for gender or for category or for rating. In terms of your past rating, I might give you an A, I might say that. All right, so now let me just to stay to the content of our first lecture, let me just say declare a variable, character variable as and then give it a name gender, then I terminate. All right, so I have gender here, and then now let's just use this gender alone, right? And then let's say gender, then I can say to the user cout. Let's communicate with the user, guys. Always have tried to address the user. Cout, what is your gender? What is your gender? What is your gender? And then now we terminate, and then we say cin. Because you asked a question, let's allow the person to enter using the cin console input. And then now whatever that is going to be entered here, the data that is entered here, we are going to associate it to our variable, our only variable gender. So here I'm writing gender. It then means whatever that is entered is going to be stored inside variable gender. Then I can display it. Cout your gender. Your gender is, then outside here I can throw gender. All right, and control save. Yeah, remember here now we're dealing with characters, right? Remember what I said to you about characters? Characters are our alphabet, single alphabet, right? Can be in lowercase or in uppercase. So let's just run quickly. And someone might say, oh, even letters, even numbers, you can use them as characters. Yes, you can use them as characters, but this is for beginners, guys. With the little knowledge that you have obtained from lecturer 1 to this lecturer so far, let's just stick to characters be recognized as our alphabet. All right, okay, now let's respond to the code. What is your gender? Oh, my gender is male. All right, now the program respond to me. Your gender is M for male, right? So don't get confused, it's not Empress. Remember, because there is no end line here, that's why you see press blah blah continue just after M. The gender has been displayed here. All right, so now let me use the end line here, just because I remember I never used it on our short program so far. So now, okay, let's run the program again, and then we'll enter agenda, and then we'll see. Yeah, so what is agenda? Actually, I'm not answering this question as like it was directed to me. I'm just answering for us to see the code running, right? Because F is not for me. All right, you see, your gender is F for female. We know F for female, and then you see now press blah blah. It came, the statement is came below the displaying of your gender is, because we had an end line here, guys. Do know that, guys. All right, okay, so now I think you guys have seen a bit. Then now let's go quickly to our third and second to last variable, which is strings. Oh, I think I already have a project on strings. All right, let me just look it into here. Strings, yes. All right, it's already opened. Let me just go to edit, and then here it is. Yes, this is string. All right, I already have a program for strings, and then as I was preparing myself, I was just trying to see how it will look like, and then let me just write here string validation. All right, string validation, guys. Oh, okay. And then now string, the difference between string is slight different to most of these data type, because when you're going to be using string, you'll always have to define string. You have to always include string, just like you include the input and output streams. Here string, you'll always have to try to include string. So here you see I've included string. It's the only thing that actually is quite different. So you just have to include string to show that I'll be working with strings. All right, and then now we go to our main, and then as you can see, this is a declaration. This is the declaration, and then now declaration without initialization, as you can see. So I then communicate to the user. I said cout, okay, I'm throwing a message, what is your name, right? What is your name? It then means I'm expecting a string response, a string data. All right, then because my string variable is given as name, then now here on the cin I'm expecting a data, and then I'm storing it inside the storage reference name. So that's why I wrote name here, and then it's going to accommodate, it's going to accept a string data type, only. All right, so now after that, after the user has entered it, and then I'm going to say your name is, and then I'm displaying back to the user the name that they've entered. Okay, then that's it. Then let me just quickly save, or let me just run it and then see. Oh, green light. All right, what is your name? Okay, obviously my name is Junior. I don't know yours, maybe I will one day. Let's see now. Oh God, what is your gender? Oh, sorry about that, guys. I'm still running the previous project. I was supposed to release and run this one. Oh my God. Okay, this is easy. You just go to debug here, and then now here you see all the projects that I've opened, that are opened here, that are displayed here. Then I want this one for string. I click on it, and then I go to debug. My compiler is going to set that one as active. Then I build it. Green light, then I run it. All right, good, very smart. What is your name, right? Do mind the cursor blinking below, because there is an end line here, guys. So it's blinking below. What is your name? Then just enter my name. Okay, Junior. And then it says your name is Junior. There are many things, guys, you can do with these things, but then I'm just introducing the basic ones, the basic syntax. As much as we continue with the lecturers, then you'll be able to actually see it on your computer, whichever compiler you're using. Follow the syntax and then just quickly get your program running smoothly and very well. All right, remember this lecturer, I think I'll have to skip the double, because the double it accommodates integers. You can do the very same thing that we've done on integers and floating point numbers. So I'll just, for this lecturer, I will skip the double, and then I will just assume that you'll understand. You can create your own program where you emphasize the double, the data type double, and then it's more or less the same for integer and floating point. But remember, the difference is that double accommodate huge values, right? When you're calculating your 1000, maybe, yeah, in terms of memory allocation, double is allocated a huge space, unlike these ones, right? So I'll skip that one, guys. And then remember here, let me just go to my notepad. I was emphasizing on topic let's go back to topic one. We had a simple program for our output, just to output a message to the screen. We've seen that, and then using the output or display where you follow the syntax of cout. Yes, and then now the second topic, which is where actually we spend a lot of time on it, we're creating simple program for all the data types that we have talked about on lecture 1. And then now the syntax, when you have when you want the user to input something, you always have to use the cin, console input. Then console input, remember, is always followed by these characters. And then operators, not characters. And this one is always followed by the insertion ones, operators. Always remember that, guys. Okay, so, or maybe I should write this inside here. See, in here. Okay, let me also write it again here on console output. All right, this will always be like this, guys, so don't make mistake. And then yes, all right, I hope you guys find this video educational, and then don't forget to click the like below down there, and then I'll be happy to see the like. And please do the hard work on your side. Let this code teach you more. Don't rely too much on them. Take them to a higher level. All right, learning is never limited. That's for me, your boy Junior. Bye for now.